Hello everybody. Today I'm making a video on how to grow plum and almond trees from seed. Plums and peaches, apricots, nectarines, and cherries are all sort of similar because they have pits. But if you crack the pit very gently without damaging the seed within, you can extract the seed and grow your own tree. As you can see here, we have a Ziploc bag and I place 4 seeds. These happen to be plum seeds. And these right here are almonds. We put them in 2 paper towels, fold them in 4, and then just cover them like this. And then place them inside a Ziploc bag with a little bit of water just so the paper towel is moist. And in about 2 weeks or so, they should sprout. I usually let them a bit longer. I noticed that it's more success rate for the tree to grow. Sometimes if the root is too small, it may die. But if it's just like a tiny bit longer than this, it would be more ideal. But the way I check is if they're sprouting is I hold this up to the light and you can see the root growing. Once that happens, then you know you're having success. So the way I plant these is I just get like water bottles or Pepsi bottles and put some soil in there, pot mix. Get your finger and make a tiny hole to where the root could go in comfortably without pressing it in or anything like that. Pick yourself one of the seeds, place them in there to where the actual seed, the head of it, is still outside the soil. And then gently just tuck it in, leave it outside a little bit. When you're going to add water, it's going to kind of compact the soil down. So, you could go a little higher. And then once you add water, it's going to look like that. It's just going to nestle it in. And just keep the soil moist like any other plant you have. So this is basically the steps for a plum. You start right here, and then within about maybe a week, you're going to have the leaves starting to come out. And then within about 2 weeks, it's going to look like this. So from day one, well, I should say about 2 weeks for them to germinate, and then about a week after you plant them, and then a couple weeks. And this is an almond, same thing. We just put that in the ground right now. And that's about 2 weeks. And that's about a month right here. So they do grow pretty quickly. You can see the root system really, really taking off. So it's doing really well. And then we have a few other plums right here. These are like Blue Free or Stanley, a variety of Stanley. Some people frown upon growing them from seed, but I noticed, you know what? If you do it this way, you might come up with a variety you like. I start out with something that's really nice, some, tree that's really producing fruit properly, a good variety that I like, and then you may not get the exact same fruit. You might get a better one. You might get one that's not as good or maybe a little bit different, but I say it's worth it. And here we also have a walnut tree. So we just stuck a walnut, cracked the sharp tip of it. There's a sharp tip and then there's a blunt tip. On the sharp tip, I usually just tap it with some pliers and, extract a little bit of the corner, place it in the ground, and the root system is really solid on the walnut trees. But this is just literally less than a week after it was sprouted. I put it in the soil, and it's doing good, So I think it's fun. It doesn't cost you anything. As for the plums, I let a few get mature on the tree so they're nice and ripe. And then I let them rot on the ground over winter. This is springtime, so I pulled a few out of the ground that were just sitting there. You can see the pits. I picked a few pits, and I had a 50% success rate on the pits. Some of them won't make it. They might not be under ideal conditions left outside. But this is kind of the way I left them, so I don't have to worry about them. They just, get their cold so many hours that's required, and they're doing good. This is the way I've done it. You could do it out of store-bought plums. I just, use the variety that I'm familiar with. But they're all really nice and healthy. And you know what I noticed with the plums is the actual seed, as you can see. So that's the seed splitting, and you get your growth. And if you look right there, that's the seed right there, the thick, those two leaf-looking things, that's the seed that split, and it's still alive. It's still part of the plant. And it's really interesting. I never knew that before. And that's how you can tell this is a plum. But they just open, stay green, and then the little tree pops out. It's really cool. So I hope this video was fun and informative. And maybe, somebody will plant some trees and make the world a better place and get more oxygen. And hey, you know what? Try something new. I liked even apple trees. From a long time ago, my grandparents had apple trees that were planted over 50 years ago. And they're varieties that aren't sold in the stores, but they seem to be more flavorful. So, you might like the flavor. They seem to stay better in the winter. You could put them in a box and leave them out in your garage, and they'll stay all winter without rotting. But some of these store-bought ones, they don't stay very well. So, you might be worth trying it out. Don't go by the book and go buy, trees that are already clipped and grafted. You might want to try this method. Granted, you're going to have to wait 3 to 5 years for the tree to bear fruit. But most of the time they do bear fruit. And they're very tasty, and perhaps even more tasty than the store-bought. Store-bought, they just want them to be big and fat so they look good, but they lack flavor. And that's what seemed to be happening over the last 15, 20 years, is they lost flavor. So I like to try new things. And if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up, and hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.